Hello, and welcome to another episode of Phantoms and Psychos.
Hi.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Allie.
So this episode, we both have stories about Paris, France. I personally have really liked France just as a country for a while. Also, if I sound weird, I'm sorry. I'm sick and ignore the sniffles. So, I don't think most people think that the Eiffel Tower is haunted. Do you think the Eiffel Tower is haunted?
I feel like everything's haunted over in, France and, older countries.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Did you know there's a secret bunker underneath the Eiffel Tower?
No, I did not.
There's a secret bunker. Not so secret anymore, because now it's, open to the public, but it used to be secret. Let's say some history about the Eiffel Tower. I wrote this down, but I really don't need it, because I'm a fucking nerd about the history of France. Built in 1889 for the World's Fair as an entrance gate designed by Gustave Eiffel. He was very clever. He named it after himself.
I mean...
It's really funny, because, over 300 architects and artists hated it. They hated the Eiffel Tower. They're like, this is so ugly. And, they petitioned for it not to be completely built. And it got built anyway. But they were like, no! I just love how hated it was. Because now it's, such a loved structure and everyone cares about it deeply.
That is great.
The guy who did the Eiffel Tower, Gustave Eiffel, he also did the Statue of Liberty's, skeleton steel structure. And he's actually, there's a statue of him on Liberty Island of him, holding the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower is 1,063 feet tall, the equivalent of an 89-story building, which is big.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be that big. I've never seen it in person, so...
We'll have to make a trip.
I've only seen the Epcot version, which is, considerably smaller. I think it's only, 130 feet or something.
I don't think I've seen the Epcot version.
You never been to the France Pavilion?
No, I don't really... I think I've been to Epcot twice.
I would like to see the real version. Maybe even the Vegas version. It was actually originally not supposed to be a permanent structure.
Really?
They were supposed to tear it down.
Why?
Because it was just for the fair, the World's Fair. I don't know the full story, but there's a funny story about this guy who, conned people into thinking he was, a steel salesman. He was like, oh, they're tearing down the Eiffel Tower. If you want the iron from it, pay me for it, and I'll get you the iron. And, there were people, buying pieces of the Eiffel Tower. And it never came down. And the dude just, scammed all of these, contractors and stuff. I don't know the full story, but, it's so funny that someone just scammed people into, buying the Eiffel Tower.
That's great.
The reason it stayed is because in 1909, a group of French citizens radioed and telegraphed the city and convinced them not to tear it down.
I don't think it was that easy.
Yeah. For a while, a lot of, French people, though, they thought it was, such a big eyesore. But then they realized that, it was bringing in traffic to the city of Paris, and they're like, oh, I guess we should keep this ugly thing. So, yeah, that's what I love. I love the Eiffel Tower because it was so hated in its early years. It's also the tallest thing in Paris. Because of a city ordinance, nothing is allowed to be over 7 stories high. So
only 7?
St. Augustine, it's the same way. They can't have anything that's over 4 stories or something. There's only a few buildings in St. Augustine that are taller than the city ordinance, and that happened before it happened. I think Flagler College is one of the few that's really big. And lighthouses, obviously they have to be taller, but that does not apply.
Yeah.
If you want the highest point in Paris, that is the top of the Eiffel Tower. But because it's such a big building, to date, over 400 people have committed suicide by jumping off the Eiffel Tower. Or hanging themselves from one of the steel beams.
Fun.
I mean, obviously, don't jump off the Eiffel Tower. There's now, guardrails in place for that. I think that's the same thing with the Empire State Building. So many people are, diving off of it, and they're shit. Let's do something about this. It's the same with, like, the Golden State Bridge, too. They have all of those signs and stuff. Like, obviously, your life's worth something. Don't just jump off a building.
Yeah, I feel like falling to my death would be, like, one of the worst ways to go. Because, like, you can see the ground coming towards you.
Okay, weirdly, I've always said that I just want to be frozen to death. Anyway. It's such a, like, touristy spot, too, the Eiffel Tower. So, it makes sense that people have jumped off of it. Like, tourists have jumped off of it.
That makes sense. If I go to Paris, I'm not going to be able to afford to come back, so might as well.
It's not a round-trip ticket. It's a one-way. Anyway, don't kill yourself in Paris. There's safety measures that since the 1960s they put up, so you probably won't be able to. Although one guy did scale the side of it. He got, like, 1,000 feet, which is, like, almost the entire length before just, like...
The entire length?
Almost.
The entire height.
Yeah, I mean, it's still length. Almost the entire height, okay? He almost got to the very top. I don't know, was he trying to scale, like, completely to the top, or was he just like, I want to get as high as I can, and then just fall off. Just let go.
I was going to ask you if anyone's done that.
Yeah.
Since then.
I feel like it might be a cool thing to do to climb it, but I wouldn't want to, like, die after I climbed it. But since the 1960s, a lot of, like, the suicides have decreased drastically.
Well, yeah.
Although in 1965, a woman actually jumped but survived.
What?
She smashed into a car and then she broke her leg, but that's like all that happened.
What? Something was looking out for her.
Yeah, and then...
Holy fuck.
And then
because, like, you would think a car would make it worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she landed on the car.
Yeah, but, like, that's not that much of a height difference.
Yeah.
And, like, if the car is moving, I feel like that would just make it worse.
But she actually ended up eventually marrying the guy who drove the car.
Aww. I kind of love that.
It's like, how did you meet Mom? Well, see,
She just fell out of heaven.
She fell out of the sky. Oh my god. Okay, I know this probably didn't happen, but did he get out of the car and be like...
Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
That's probably like a foretaste.
I hope he did.
And she's like, wait, what are you talking about? I fell from the tower.
But I mean, that has to be a running joke between them.
It's glad that she, like, had a happy ending afterwards, but...
Also, you know how people are like, they just fell into my life.
She
literally fell into his life.
There has been a murder on top of the Eiffel Tower as well.
Again, not surprising.
I mean,
it's pretty old.
Because it's such a popular place. It was from the 1920s. The story goes, a pair of young lovers arranged to meet at their favorite spot. The man wanted to propose, but the girl was like, nah, I want to break up with this dude. I feel like this nice view might help soften the blow. And then,
that never helps.
He proposed, and she was like, no, I don't want to do that. I actually wanted to break up with you. And apparently he became so angry he either pushed her or threw her over the side.
See, I thought she was gonna murder him to get out of saying no.
That would be so funny if that was. It's like, no, I'm gonna slit your throat right here.
It's so awkward because, like, I hate telling people no.
It's also, like, in such a public place, too. Yeah. So it kind of gets, like, a spectacle. Because you know how, like, people do those, like, huge proposals.
If anyone ever
like,
proposes to me in public, I am going to murder them.
I honestly think that's so uncomfortable.
Also,
but, like,
it
a
should
huge
not come
spectacle.
as, like, a surprise. Talk to the person. Make sure they're ready for the next step, too, before you go out and spend money on a ring.
Oh, yeah.
Because
definitely.
That's so another bad. Thing. It's like also, a lot of people are like completely shocked and they're like, "What the fuck? No!"
But if you're talking about like, oh, this is how much a ring would cost. This is my size in a ring, and like,
I feel
thinking like, oh, we need to spend forever together. Like
when the person proposes and where they do it at, yeah, let that be a surprise. But like, make sure y'all both know it's kind of coming and that you're on the same page.
Yeah. But with this story and this girl in the 1920s, like, they really didn't know each other that much. For him to just, like, spring it on her, like, I get why she said no. Like, his reaction was just to kill her was, like, a little intense.
I mean...
it happens. It
happens a lot.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it was pretty intense. And she's actually one of the ghosts that people hear, haunting the upper level. It's heard in like a vivid sense too, and it's always in the same order. You hear her giggling, and then you hear like an argumentative like pleading of like, please just like let me go.
That's really sad that she's stuck in that loop.
And then like, then you hear screams.
It's really sad that she's just stuck in that loop, reliving that.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of ghosts are like stuck in a loop, or like reliving what happened to them that led to their death.
Especially with like, something like really traumatic like that.
Yeah. And she was pretty young. She was only like in her, I think she was only 20. She was younger than me, and like she just died.
That's rough.
It is. There's also a ghost in the secret underground bunker. That's not so secret anymore, because it's open to the public. According to legend, though, the bunker also has hidden tunnels.
Does it connect to
the Paris catacombs?
Yeah.
Apparently. It also apparently connects to a military base. But there's like hundreds of tunnels.
Yeah.
Throughout Paris. Which is why, like, if you went into the illegal, no trespassing parts of the catacombs, like, you can get seriously lost if you don't know where you're going.
A lot of dead bodies have been hidden in there.
I think that's entirely plausible that a lot of dead bodies are there.
There is also the story of one guy getting lost in there, and, like, apparently he haunts it now and tries to help people find their way back.
Oh, he died and...
Yeah. Oh, okay. He got lost and died in there, because it's really hard to find your way out. He found his camera, but never his body.
There's also probably, like, animals down there.
Oh, yeah.
So the ghost in the secret underground bunker apparently shouts on command, because they think he's a soldier, because the secret underground bunker was, like, because of the World War. And they kept, like, weapons and stuff there.
One or two.
Actually, yeah, I think two as well. Have I ever told you the story about Hitler and the Eiffel Tower?
No.
He wanted to go up to the top, but a bunch of French, like, activists, they cut the elevator cables, so he would have had to walk all the stairs.
Was it the Resistance?
French activists, but sure, I guess you can call them.
They're literally referred to as the Resistance.
I think so.
They are. I talk about it in my story.
Well, I didn't know that you talked about that.
Oh, I talk about Nazis a lot.
There's actually a picture of Hitler from a distance, I think near the Seine Bridge, like the River Seine's bridge, taking a picture with the Eiffel Tower because he didn't want to walk up the steps. I love how people are like the resistance people were just like, no, you're not going to get on this unless you work for it, you bitch. Last but not least, in 2014, a woman took a photo of the tower and saw a skull near the top.
Wait, I'm confused. Didn't she take a picture from, like, down below, or was it, like, up there?
She took a picture from the ground.
So how did she see the fucking skull?
It was apparently just, like, really pronounced in the photo.
How high up?
Like, probably the first level.
Oh, okay. Did you not say near the top?
Yeah, like, near the top where she is.
Oh, well...
It wasn't like an actual skull. It was more like apparition of a skull.
Oh, I thought you meant like an actual skull.
No, because that'd be really tiny.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what the fuck? How did she see this?
Should have been more clear. Apparition of a skull.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for listening to the very short version of the Eiffel Tower being haunted. I could have talked more about the history of the Eiffel Tower, but that's not what you're here for. You're not here for the history. You're here for the ghost, the spooks,
and the murder.
And the murder.
Going over the edge, but don't try to stop me. Gotta get out of my head before my thoughts consume me. Far away from all this pain, I'll find myself and I'll come back again. I'm going out of my head, don't try to follow. I've gotta find where this ends, so I can stop my hollow bones from shaking, taking over me. I'm sick of breaking. I wanna be free, so I will run. Trying to find where I belong. I've been
You just listened to Run by Hades.
It's actually spelled HXDES. You can find them on Instagram at HXDES official, or you can listen to them on Spotify and Apple Music. Now back to the episode.
So after I started researching this one, I really wanted to take a deeper dive into it, but I didn't have time, so y'all are getting the bare minimum of this, and it's kind of wild. Okay, so today we will be talking about Marcel Piot. He was born January 17th, 1897 in... I don't remember how to pronounce that.
Just try your best.
Auxerre, France. While he was growing up, it is reported that he was intelligent but exhibited severe behavioral problems. So I'm not sure how accurate this is. It said that at age 11, he fired his father's gun in class and propositioned a girl for sex.
At 11 years old?
At 11.
I get the gun firing thing, but like the...
He was expelled from a lot of schools.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at age 17, he was arrested for mail theft, but was determined to be mentally unfit to stand trial.
Mail theft? Like just stealing other people's mail?
Yeah.
What's the lamest thing to steal?
So he also joined the French army in World War I, and when he was 20, he was tried for stealing army blankets, was found not guilty due to insanity.
He was stealing blankets from the army?
Yeah.
This dude's stealing some lame shit.
He was a kleptomaniac.
Okay.
So...
I'm just saying, like, mail and blankets is like the lamest shit you can steal.
Well, if it makes you feel better, he upgrades to murder. So...
Alright.
He was then sent back to the front lines, even though he was found. Also, I found that, like, he had to be on rest for a while because he shot his own foot somehow.
On purpose or an accident?
Very unclear. Again, they were saying he's mentally unstable.
So it could have been on purpose.
I think they said he suffered from a mental breakdown when he shot his foot, but then after that, they again put him right back on the front lines.
Maybe they just wanted to kill him. Get it over with.
Well, he was eventually discharged from the army for abnormal behavior.
What qualifies as abnormal in like...
Especially in the early 1900s.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially like the early 1900s, I think a lot of people were really fucking weird.
They also recommend he be institutionalized. Apparently, instead of actually, like, being in one, he interned at one while he was getting his medical degree. Okay. Also, like, he was discharged from the army in, I think, 1917? Okay, so he was aged 20. So it had to be, like, 1917, 1918. Somewhere around then, right? He got his medical degree in 1921. The fact that it did not take that much to get a medical degree back then.
Yeah, back then I don't think people really had all those qualifications that they had to look for.
Still, it was the 20s.
That's the same time that guy threw that girl off the top of the Eiffel Tower. So.
I know, which is why I thought our stories just go along so well. So he got his medical degree in 1921 and set up practice in Villeneuve. And apparently people there liked him so much, they elected him mayor in 1926. But apparently he paid someone to make, like, a huge commotion so that his competitor would get flustered. So everyone's like, we don't want him! And then he married Georgette Labias in June of 1927. And then in 1930, he got suspended from being mayor for 4 months after committing fraud. So, like, he was scamming them out of money. For only 4 months.
What a good mayor!
It gets worse. Also, apparently it is also rumored that his first murder was a girl he was having an affair with in 1926, and she went missing, but, like, nothing ever came of that.
I believe it, though. Might have happened.
Okay, her name was Louise de la Vue.
De la Vue.
De la Vue.
I don't know. I didn't read it.
Oh.
I just wanted to be really extremely French.
She mysteriously disappeared in 1926 after having an affair with him. So that was highly suspicious. Neighbors even reported that they had seen him putting a large trunk into his automobile. That perhaps it was her inside of it. Nothing was ever found. So that just...
Maybe he hid her at the catacombs.
So that was right before he made it as mayor. Right before he ran for mayor. So even after that allegation, they're like, nah, he's good. He's good.
He's straight. Oh my god, how bad were his competitors for him to be the best option?
I think he only had one other. It literally just said he scammed his way into being mayor. I guess during this apparently one of his patients was murdered, and then one of his other patients blamed him and mysteriously disappeared, or mysteriously died. And nothing came of that either.
That's hella suspicious. I feel like he definitely killed his patients, though.
We'll get more to that. And then 1931, he was removed from office. However, he was then elected as a local councilor, but lost it because he was convicted of stealing electric from the town. Mind you, it was only a few months after getting that elected for that.
This town had no other good options, did they? Jesus.
I feel like they couldn't have. In 1933, he moved to Paris. This is where it all just goes downhill.
Alright.
Way downhill. He started working under the name Dr. Eugene.
Sexy. He couldn't have picked a better name.
Wasn't that a really popular name back then?
Eugene? Probably. I don't know. It just makes me think of Tangled.
Yeah. He started promising safe path. This is where it's really fucked up, because he takes advantage of a lot of people.
Great.
He promised safe passage out of France to Jews looking to invade the Nazis.
Okay. Honorable, but did he actually do it?
This is where I read that line that said anyone who took him up on his offer was never heard from again, mainly because he killed them all.
I guess he was a Nazi, or just was trying to help out.
No, he was just, you know how much he charged them?
How much?
25,000 francs, which equals $500,000 today.
You can't see it, but I just did like the surprise Pikachu face. What the fuck, dude?
Yep.
You're gonna charge people that much to kill them?
Well, they thought they were getting safe passage out of the country. And so he would tell them they first needed a vaccine, but instead would inject them with cyanide. And now the whole being against vaccines thing is kind of starting to make sense to me.
Yeah, but you're not getting... He wasn't an actual doctor. I mean, yeah, he was an actual doctor. But I mean, like, he wasn't a sane doctor.
I mean, there were clearly so many instances where people are like, he's mentally unstable, guys. And this was back then, so he had to be really off the wall.
First off, charging them $500,000 and then being like, and now I need to inject you. I'm like, at what point is that not worth it anymore?
Well, wait till you hear how much he made off of all of these. He got 200,000 francs, which is roughly $200 million today. Or no, $2 million.
$2 million? Wow.
That was also after he took all the valuables off them and then dumped their bodies in the Seine.
People pronounce it.
Yeah, and like he had people he paid to take the bodies and dump them and stuff. And
the Seine River probably has so much crap in it.
Oh god, yeah. That became difficult due to the growth of the Gestapo presence. He started putting the bodies in quicklime to disintegrate.
What a fucked up just...
It gets worse. So eventually, the Gestapo heard of Dr. Eugene, quote unquote, Dr. Eugene's activities and arrested his help, tortured them, and they finally gave up his real name. But by the time they did that, he had taken off and fled to another part of Paris.
Okay. At least he was smart enough not to get captured.
Yeah. Just wait. You know, he continued doing what he was doing there, but he didn't have help, so it was harder to get rid of the bodies. Right. But he went out of town for a few days in March of 1944, and the neighbors called the police due to an awful smell emitting from the house and unusually noxious smoke coming from the chimney.
Okay. So, also, before we get into that, like, how do you get help with throwing away bodies? Who just is like, yeah, I'm down to help you with serial killing.
If you pay people enough and you tell them the right story, like,
just like
it has.
I know there's a lot of serial killers that like did it all by themselves, but like
this part, and it will kind of tell you what he said to people to be where they're like, oh yeah, okay. I guess the police trying to get a hold of him, and I guess did, and he said, oh, I'll be home soon, and like they waited for like an hour, and then finally, along with like some firemen, they finally went inside the house and found body parts, not full bodies, body parts strewn throughout the entire house. And
dude, I will just gotta keep it in one place.
No, all over. Some were in sacks or suitcases. There were vats of quicklime in the garage, and an incinerator filled with bones and body parts. A total of 10 bodies were found inside.
Whole bodies or parts?
No, parts.
That go to the same body.
I think they just figure they go to the same body.
What parts? Like the legs, arms, torso?
I think it's just various parts.
How unorganized is this man to just keep it all over his house?
Soon after they discovered all the body parts, I'm not gonna say bodies because they were pieces. When Petite arrived, he told them that he was part of the resistance, and the bodies were Germans or traitors he had killed. The police didn't arrest him, because they're like, oh, okay.
Wow, back then,
Well,
the police just believed anything.
It was all during World War II.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were
I
Nazis
literally
everywhere.
just told the story about the resistance cutting the wires.
So, I mean, thanks for helping.
They also, if they knew who he was previously, they knew he was already in the army, right? So they were probably like, oh, this man, just doing his service.
However, Commissioner George Victor Majou did not believe him and quickly learned the truth after interviewing Marcel's wife, brother, and the men who had previously helped him.
Okay.
But couldn't catch him because he had already taken off again.
They're on to me. I told them that sweet lie. They believed me for a second, but I gotta leave.
Yeah. While invading capture, he ended up actually joining the resistance and gaining a lot of fame because I guess he helped out a bunch. But this also led to his downfall and him getting arrested because someone recognized him at a train station and he ended up getting arrested there. Because, like, they ran an article on him saying how big of a hero he was and how great he is.
Like, what the fuck?
He was still caught in 1944, but he didn't go to trial till 2 years later, which was on March 19th, 1946, with 135 criminal charges against him. 135.
I mean, he racked him up, didn't he?
He ended up getting convicted of killing 26. The entire time he claimed that he only killed enemies of France, but like he also was like, oh, I did it for the resistance, and like trying to name like different groups in the resistance, and people there were like, yeah, no, those don't fucking exist.
So he was a pathological liar as well.
Oh, he had many issues.
I wonder how his upbringing was. Jesus Christ.
I didn't find much on that.
I just wonder how this guy was. To, like, be such a pathological liar and, like, constantly steal some pretty lame things, I might.
To be fair, kleptomaniac mania is a form of mental disorder that people cannot help. But he was convicted of killing 26. Also, I don't think he refused to admit to killing the 10 in his home or something.
Okay.
He also said he did it for the resistance, so I'm not sure. He was convicted of killing 26, but it is believed he killed at least 60, if not more.
It's a lot of people.
He was sentenced to death, and he was guillotined on May 25th, 1946, only 6 days after he was sentenced to death. So
France works quick.
Also, it just blows my mind that the last time someone was executed by the guillotine was when video cameras existed, and that there is an actual video of it going around.
Okay, so yeah, that guy is wild. The fact that people like admired him to a certain extent,
Yeah.
weird. But I guess like to a certain extent, you have to have the charm to get your victims in.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, how are you gonna kill anyone? People are just gonna avoid you. Do you want to end this?
Sorry, I'm flabbergasted by that story. That one was...
I love that he got arrested for stealing mail. Who does get arrested? Who gets arrested for that? I don't think many people get arrested for stealing mail.
Especially back then. His
like-
wife never divorced him or anything either.
Weird. Alright, well thank you for listening to this episode of Phantoms and Psychos. I hope you enjoyed it.
For Twitter and Instagram, it is phantom_psychos.
And you can also visit our Tumblr, which we're starting to put episode notes on, at phantomsandpsychos.tumblr.com.
If you have any paranormal or true crime stories, you can email us at phantomsandpsychos@gmail.com. We would love to hear from y'all.
Also, you can go to our website, phantomsandpsychos.com, and submit stories there. Or if you want to be a featured band, you can contact our contact page.
Oh, join our Facebook group, Phantoms and
You're
Psychos.
such a mess. This is such a mess.
It's okay.
Alright, have a spooky day.
Bye.
Bye.